Hello everyone, hope you are staying at your home. As a continuation of our class, this time I'm going to try this PPT voiceover method. So in this today I'm going to discuss about gastrointestinal hormones. So before entering into the topic, first you should know some of the functions of gastrointestinal tract. The maze ingestion, first one ingestion, next one digestion, absorption, excretion, and movement. So ingestion is taking food, and digestion, you know well, both by chemical and mechanical means, and absorption. So the absorption of nutrients by the body, and then excretion. So it is to get rid of undigested materials out of the body, and then the movement of ingested food throughout the gastrointestinal tract. So then next one is the organs of digestive system. Usually the digestion starts from our mouth onwards. So the major contribution is by our digestive tract, and this work is also carried out by some accessory digestive organs. The first one by salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, pancreas. The major contribution by the digestive tract includes oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. So the stomach has three major cell types: chief cells, parietal cells, and endocrine cells. So the chief cells produce pepsinogen, and the parietal cells produce HCl and intrinsic factor. And I have given notes before a week. So in that I have given the image of parietal cells, and in this parietal cells, your stomach HCl is residing. And then the next one is endocrine cells. Here within this endocrine cells, G cells, D cells, and enterochromaffin-like cells are present. And G cells produce a gastrin hormone, whereas D cell produce somatostatin hormone, whereas the enterochromaffin-like cells produce other hormones, paracrine hormones. So coming to the topic, GI hormone. GI hormone, that is the gastrointestinal hormone or gut hormones, are a group of hormones secreted by the enteroendocrine cells in the stomach, pancreas, and small intestine. So the enteroendocrine cells do not form the glands, but they spread throughout the digestive tract. So the next one is the regulation of the gastrointestinal function, and the GI function is mainly regulated by two regulations. One is the endocrine regulation and another one by paracrine regulation. So the endocrine regulation is carried out by the enteroendocrine cells, whereas the paracrine regulation is carried out by histamine and 5-HT. So these gastrointestinal hormones can be classified into so many groups based on its chemical structure. The first one is gastrin cholecystokinin family. It comes with the gastrin and the cholecystokinin. And the next one is secretin family. It includes secretin, glucagon, vasoactive intestinal peptide, and gastric inhibitory peptide, that is VIP and GIP. The next one is somatostatin family, motilin family, and substance P. So in your syllabus, uh, only three GI hormones are focused, which the first important thing is gastrin. So here the image on the left side of the slide shows the various GI hormones in your body and its activity. So the gastrin, it is a peptide hormone which stimulates the secretion of HCl in your stomach by the parietal cells and aids in gastric motility. It is released by the G cells in antrum of stomach, duodenum, and the pancreas. It also binds to cholecystokinin B receptors to stimulate the release of histamines and enterochromaffin-like cells. So this gastrin is much important for the sequential action of these GI hormones. It induces the insertion of K plus and H plus ATPase pumps into the apical membrane of the parietal cells, which in turn increases the hydrogen ion release. And then this release is inhibited by highly acidic pH. So whenever the acidic condition is more, the release of this gastric hormone is highly inhibited. So the regulation of gastric secretion can be done by luminal, neural and blood. So the next slide shows secretion of gastrin and its regulation. First, the G cells produce the gastrin via blood vessel in the stomach, and from that gastrin it enters into the ECL cell and parietal cell, and at the same time the gastrin doesn't enter into the antrum, as the antrum is rich in acid. So this acid in the antrum inhibit the gastrin secretion by two ways. First, by direct action on the G cell, so it directly inhibits the G cell action, and sometimes it can stimulate the release of somatostatin by D cell. By releasing the somatostatin in the D cell, it blocks the gastrin secretion. So but sometimes when the parietal cells are damaged and if there is the pernicious anemia, then the gastrin level is elevated. The next one is Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. This Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is a disease which is related to gastrin hormone secretion. If the gastrin hormone is produced at excessive levels, uh, then it is known to be Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. It is often associated by a gastrinoma. Here, the gastrin producing tumor, mostly benign tumor of the duodenum and the pancreas. So, how this one occurs means mainly in autoimmune gastritis. So, here the immune system itself attacks the parietal cells, leads to hypochlorhydria, where the stomach acidity is very low. So this results in an elevated gastrin level in an attempt to compensate for the increased pH in the stomach. So at the same time, all the parietal cells are lost and achlorohydria results, leading to a loss of negative feedback on gastrin secretion. So once the parietal cells is completely lost, so there will be no acid production. So the next one is cholecystokinin pancreozyme, that is CCK. It causes the releases of digestive enzymes and bile from the pancreas and the gallbladder. So cholecystokinin is synthesized by the eye cells in the mucosal epithelium of small intestine. It is first secreted in the duodenum, which is a segment of small intestine. Then the cystokinin is a peptide hormone of the gastrointestinal system, which is responsible for stimulation of digestion of fat and protein molecules. So the next one is the CCK secretion, that is the cholecystokinin secretion. So once the fat, peptide and amino acids are digested, the cholecystokinin starts secreted and it is then passed to the gallbladder and some of them passed to pancreas. So CCK is composed of varying number of amino acids depending on post-translational modification of that CCK gene product pre-cholecystokinin. There are so many CCK forms are there, CCK8, CCK22 and CCK23. So the principal circulating forms secreted in response to meal. Once we have our meal, this type of hormones form to secrete. So every form has the same 5AA at C terminal as gastrin. So the next one is the action of cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin is responsible for the contraction of gallbladder and sphincter of Oddi relaxation. It also elevates the pancreatic enzyme secretion. It augments the effect of secretin in producing the pancreatic juice. And it also lowers the gastric emptying, which causes several stomach disorders. And it also induces the satiety by acting through the hypothalamus. So what's the mechanism of action behind this is through the CCK receptor. So here two types of CCK receptors are there, CCKA and CCKB. CCKA is a primarily gastrointestinal tract, lesser amount in the CNS. Then CCKB, which is primarily CNS, lesser amount in the gastrointestinal tract. So the CCK binds to the receptor to activate the phospholipase C, and then to IP3. So IP3 to DAG, and which leads to increased intracellular calcium, which then activates the protein kinase and finally leads to release of granule, that is the pancreatic enzyme. So the CCK secretion is controlled by mainly four factors. The first one is the most potent stimulator of CCK releases lipid. So once the fat-rich food product is ingested, the CCK release is stimulated. So like that, peptones, amino acids also increase CCK release. It is also secreted in response to some CCK releasing factor. So what's the positive feedback? So once if the CCK is present, it leads to enzyme release, and then the release of enzyme leads to more digestive products. So again, more digestive products leads to more CCK. It stops when the digestive products move to the next part. So till that, it will be like a cycle. So this is the CCK releasing peptide and monitor peptide. CCK-RP is secreted from the duodenal mucosa and the monitor peptide by pancreatic acinar cell. Secreted in response to fat, protein digestive products and also to neural input. These peptides are degraded by the trypsin present in the pancreas. The next important hormone is the secretin. The secretin is a 27 amino polypeptide. It is secreted by the S cells deeply located in the mucosal gland of duodenum and jejunum. So for this duodenum and jejunum, you can just view the images of stomach. So it has having similar structure with glucagon, VIP and GIP. Till date, only one form of secretin has been isolated, and the half-life of this secretin is just 5 minutes. It is stored in an inactive form. So what is the action of secretin? It is the most potent humoral stimulator of fluid and HCO3 secretion by pancreas. It acts in concert with CCK and ACH to stimulate bicarbonate secretion. So it increased bicarbonate secretion by the duct cells of pancreas and biliary duct leads to increased secretion of watery alkaline pancreatic juice. So the action is through cyclic AMP. At the same time, it increases the pancreatic enzyme secretion. Also, it lowers the gastric acid secretion, and it also improves the pyloric sphincter contraction. It stimulates the growth of exocrine pancreas. So finally, it helps in proper digestion of food materials. So the acids from the stomach releases the secretin from the wall of duodenum. Fats and amino acids cause release of cholecystokinin. So the secretin secretion is controlled by mainly protein digestive products, by acid fatty food, and also by increased acidity in the duodenal content like pH about 4.5 to 5. It is also inhibited by somatostatin and methencephalin. Secretin release may be mediated by secretin releasing peptide. So the hormones of these gastrointestinal tract stops whenever the digestive product moves to the next step. So with this, the gastrointestinal hormones topic is over, and I will meet you with the next topic.